I don't understand why these companies, because as we agreed, they all know what's happening down there. That's why they've got their marketing departments on it. They all know what's happening down there. Why is it that they just don't want to solve the problem? It's not complicated. It would probably cost them a rounding error on their balance sheet to just invest in treating those people with the same respect and dignity as the people in corporate headquarters. They're all part of the same chain. It's not that the cobalt goes to the moon. It goes to these companies. So they're linked. But they don't accept responsibility for them. And for some reason, they feel it's okay to treat them and the world around them like trash. And I think deep down inside, no one will ever come out and admit it, but I think there's only one answer to the question, why haven't they fixed the problem yet? And that is because it's poor, wretched Africans that no one cares about. That's the truth. And that's been the truth for centuries, hasn't it? Going back to the slave trade, going back to the colonization of Africa, it's embedded in the framework and structure of a global economy that, again, it's about the loot and the money. And the people there are either fit to be brutes or to be moved out of the way. That's the only answer to the question why companies that are rolling in profits beyond measure wouldn't say, hey, the bottom of this supply chain, like this thing that's in our batteries that we really, really need, the conditions there are pretty bad. And that's not acceptable because we claim that we uphold human rights and dignity and sustainability all the way down our supply chain. Let's send a few people down there and work on this. Has one CEO of any of these companies ever stepped foot at the bottom of their own supply chain to see for themselves what's happening there? I mean, why is it that I had to go? I'm not running a tech company. I'm not running an EV company, yet I felt somehow responsible for what's happening down there. How come they don't feel responsible enough to take a trip, one trip on their private jet down there to see for themselves, oh, wait a minute, there are thousands of people in this in this industrial mine, working in like ancient, old world, miserable conditions. Let's do something about that. How about some PPE for everybody? How about a reasonable wage so they don't have to bring their kids in to work just to survive? How about 8 hours a day instead of 12? How about we invest in some schools and some public health clinics while we're here so that kids can go to school? Why don't we help electrify this place? Do you know that that part of the Congo that is home to more of the most crucial mineral for rechargeable energy than the rest of the planet combined doesn't even have electricity? You go around in the villages, there's no electricity. I mean, we can go on and on, right? So the point is, they need to understand it, accept responsibility for these people at the bottom of the chain, treat them in the same way that they treat people in headquarters.
Have you had any conversations with any of these people in tech or in EV vehicles?
I hope I will be invited to do so maybe after this book comes out, and if it gets enough attention, I will gladly engage on solving this problem. I am a humble servant to any company that wants to just understand and fix their cobalt supply chain.
Is there any possibility that the CEOs and the people in upper management are not aware of the scope of this problem?
It's hard for me to imagine that they're not aware.
So do you think it's just a convenient ignorance, or is it a diffusion of responsibility because they came into this company when all this already existed?
Yeah, interesting question. I think some of it is business as usual until someone forces them to think differently. I think another part of it is it's easy not to accept responsibility because they're so far away, and there's so many levels in the supply chain between toxic pit in the Congo and shiny showroom in New York and London and, Beijing, right? That they're separated by layers and layers of a supply chain. I mean, that's how the global economy works. So some of it is, it's their responsibility. And they point the finger downstream, right? The battery maker should worry about this. And the battery maker will point and say, no, the cobalt refinery should worry about it. And the cobalt refinery will say, no, the mining company should worry about it. And the mining company say, no, the Congolese government should worry about it. And on down the list until the last finger is pointed at the kid caked in filth in the pit. So no one's accepting responsibility. I think let's be charitable and say maybe the CEOs of these companies aren't completely aware of the scale and severity. I certainly wasn't when I first went there. It wasn't my business to know it. But okay, let's say maybe they are not aware of the absolute scale and severity of it, although they should be. All right, now that the truth is out, let's see, are they willing to actually work on this problem? And I will. Any CEO wants to go see what the bottom of their cobalt supply chain looks like. I will take them. I will take them. Come with me. We'll fly economy, or I'll go in your jet. We'll go comfortably. Either way, I will take you. Let's go down and see. This is where your cobalt's coming from. Now that you've seen the truth, let's fix this problem, because these companies have geniuses who have revolutionized our lives. Solving dignity at the bottom of a cobalt supply chain is a simple proposition relative to the problems they probably solve every day.
But they would have to address it en masse. They would have to address it very publicly. They would have to admit to this problem, and they'd have to publicly state it and make everyone aware, the consumer aware, that these things that we enjoy that make our lives so convenient, these technological marvels that have revolutionized our world, at the bottom of that